The former new kid on the block, and his new sold-out CD is Stay the Same, Joey McIntyre. They made it. Okay. Hey, kids, shut up. You're giving me a hand.
I'm sorry, Bill. I know it's a serious show. They made it.
That's okay.
Dude, can you make them stop that? I try not to get too sick of it.
Yeah, new kids on the block, huh? Yeah. Okay, the new kids are old now. Shut up. Okay, now you saw a little sketch there, and let's show what, because this is what everyone is talking about. I cannot get rid of this topic for the last 2 weeks. Everywhere I go, people say, are you talking about this? Let's look at some of these. Now, this is the big one that has caused the controversy. This is the Virgin Mary with cow dung. I think I know why she's a virgin. What do you, do we have any reactions to this painting?
Well, it's like a black rendition of the Virgin
Well, it
Mary,
definitely is.
And I consider it an insult, and I hate the fact that tax dollars...
Insult?
Yes.
Because?
I consider insulting, number one, to Catholics, number two, to black... Look at that, and then with cow dung, with elephant cow dung on her.
Yeah, where do you even find elephant dung? Like, where do you know what I mean? I can't find good Thai food in L.A. Where do you get cow dung?
You know?
Is she doing anything, though? I mean, regardless of what it's made of or what her nationality is or where she came from, is she doing anything wrong?
You know, this...
Well...
And if she isn't, if she's shown in a good light, you know...
Well, the whole thing...
Why do you find it offensive?
Well, I don't think it's art, and I don't think that our tax dollars should go to pay for that. I find it hideous. I find it ugly.
But see, here's where I have a problem with that.
I hate the fact that a painter that paints a house pays 30% out of his paycheck to pay for that instead of putting food on the table. If you consider it art, then you give your personal money to put it in the museum.
But you can't,
Well,
but you can't qualify it. I mean, you can't say that we're willing to, the government is willing to subsidize art as long as it's art that we approve.
There's a place for government.
Let's just talk about the art itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the other one. Look at this one. This is a mattress with a bucket of crap, and I like that. This is, see that there's a little cucumber with
Right.
2 oranges.
Okay.
We do that,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is art.
This is art, but
Is
this
this
is
art?
art.
That's
This is
my-
art because it's
Why?
a personal expression of someone.
What? This isn't art. This is a flat art.
What we do, what I do in television, we have to make it commercial because we're selling ad space, and basically that's what television is, and they use entertainment as a medium. But art, at its core, is an expression, a very intimate expression of this one person.
I know, but look at this piece of... Come on, people.
Let me finish. An expression of art.
It's a bucket of sand on a dirty mattress.
I mean, look at us.
I don't get the sand. I get the cucumber and that part, and I get the melons, but bucket of sand is supposed to be...
You don't know the person.
Well, that's...
If you knew the person, it would all make sense. You go, oh, look at the bucket.
So this has been
I don't
inspired by
consider it
someone.
That's obviously his side of the bed.
There's an expression that comes in the form of art. Either you relate to it, you're amused by it, you're offended by it, or whatever. But if you don't get it, it's obviously not for you.
Look at this one. You talk about offended. Now, I'm a big animal advocate, as people know. This is a pig cut in half and placed in either side of this glass case. A pig cut in half. Also available at Wendy's.
So you're saying... So we cut this pig's future short, is what you're saying.
I don't know what's... Maybe the pig died of natural causes at Cedar Sinai. I don't know. But, I mean, why is that art? A pig... Who couldn't do that? That's what I'm saying.
Well, see, that's...
Giuliani said,
yeah.
if I
Get in
could...
the formaldehyde?
Giuliani said,
it's
if
not
I
about
could...
actually executing the art, it's about the concept. And the concept, if you want to argue whether or not that's art, but I'm just saying, you know, say you make art out of found objects and you weld them together. Anybody can do the actual welding. That doesn't disqualify it as being art. It's the concept of looking at, you know, a rusted out hull of a car and going, I'm going to make that.
I mean, that's not a Monet, that's not Picasso, that's not Cézanne.
No, but, you know, either is Basquiat, you know, he was
also playwrights.
used to be a tagger.
There you go.
You know?
There's also playwrights that people don't like. You know, certain plays they like, certain plays they can't
exactly. I mean, I don't like Dice Clay, but I can't go, that's not comedy. You know what I mean? It is.
Exactly.
It's like, it's just
I can.
It's so easy.
What about, like, you know, Christo does those things where he, like, wraps an entire forest in saran wrap, and then we're supposed to look at that.
Never saw it.
No.
Well, you know what, though? If you don't get it, it's not for you. So maybe you're not supposed to look at it. So let somebody who maybe does get something else from it do it. But the thing is, when it's not for you, it doesn't necessarily give you the right to put it down just because you don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean,
And you understand this?
No, I'm saying it's
Could you
not for
explain
me.
it to me?
I
then?
understand the second one I understood.
I'm saying it's not.
Is it art? I understood.
You understood the mattress with the sand and
Just
the
the
tree.
sand. He had a
They
little
were
problem
on
with
tour
the
for
sand.
years.
All right, we have to take a commercial. We'll be right back.
Joe Califano.
All right, well, I don't know much about art, but I do know something about drugs, only because of what I read in Newsweek.
Of course.
So listen to this. The Supreme Court just ruled that they are not going to rule on a ruling in Knoxville, Tennessee, where the school boards are making all the news these days. In Knoxville, Tennessee, they are drug testing teachers.
They are drug testing teachers?
They are.
So they've already
With no cause, just because they say, you know what, our kids, it's always the kids, got to protect the kids. Our kids could be subject to a teacher who is on drugs. Now, I don't know if
When you
drug
go into
addicts
a
are attracted to this
school zone,
profession.
what's the first sign that you see when you go into a school zone? Drug-free zone. So in essence, if it's truly a drug-free zone, then teachers should be tested. They
Were
should
you
not.
going to drug test all the kids?
No, not the kids, but the teachers have a
What about the
responsibility.
Fourth Amendment?
Oh,
What
the
about
Fourth
personal liberty?
Excuse me, if you're in front of children all day long, I consider a teacher a preacher, a doctor, a mother.
Wait a minute.
No,
If you're
no.
in front of children all day long, you need recreational drugs.
Yeah,
I don't want a druggie. I don't want a druggie teaching my children, number one. And number two, I'm a lobbyist in Washington, D.C. I represent CEOs that own trucking companies. Before I got my job, I had to go through a random drug test.
And that wasn't right either.
Because I'm representing people that have to be drug-free and alcohol-free. If you're an airline pilot,
Well,
you get
that's
drug
wrong,
tested.
too.
If you're operating
But,
heavy
yeah, but I mean, how far does
machinery.
it go?
Some of my best teachers have been drunks. And
One of my
And
teachers
Lucy's-
used to go over and sneak scope. She used to pour it down. That has alcohol.
Well, she shouldn't be teaching. You have a
Oh, she was
responsibility.
an incredible
You are a
teacher.
role model.
I'm
You
just
are a
saying,
mentor. You are a
this
teacher.
day and
It's not
age,
right.
if a teacher hasn't done drugs, they're subject. If they have done drugs, it probably makes them a little more.
I just think it's like now you're gonna. Okay, so you start drug testing them. Well, what if you pass? What about the people
What
that
are they gonna
pass
do
it but
with
they
the
actually
results?
have a drinking problem? Let's talk about that for a second.
What do they do with the results?
You can't screen somebody for actually
cannot.
taking
You
drinks
cannot.
before.
What
Right,
about
right,
what,
exactly.
What about civil liberty? What about the Fourth Amendment? What
No,
about
you should not be
the
high and teaching kids. I'm sorry. You should not be in the classroom high and teaching children.
It's amazing that you
no,
can.
you shouldn't. You shouldn't, obviously not. But you can't say
There
that.
are a lot of other jobs you can take, but when it comes to our children,
When it comes to our children, what about when it comes to our Constitution? What about adults? What about people?
We have a
I
responsibility.
understand that, but to make innocent people
come
have a
on.
random dragnet of their urine
Well, if you're not
without
guilty,
any
you have no
evidence,
problem.
what happened to innocent until proven guilty?
Yeah.
You shouldn't be high teaching.
just have to prove them guilty.
But I think my sister is a professor, actually, and
And my
I don't
sister's
think...
a teacher as well in Tennessee.
But you
Let
have
him
to upheld
finish.
them. You have to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think it's part of the whole...
Respect.
The respect and actually, they know that...
It's like you're persecuting.
They know what I don't know.
Just make someone.
They know everything.
Yeah,
But no, they know what they have to do
It's
to
the
teach
kids
the
who are on drugs, not the teachers.
They dedicated.
Thank you.
They dedicated themselves to teaching these kids, and I think that they do the right thing. We have to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Joey, do you think it's right to be high and teach a
That's
child?
not the
you're
point.
That's
No,
not
it
the point.
isn't,
You're
but
Of
saying-
course it's not right to be high. You're presuming their guilt.
By making these teachers go in and take the test, the act of taking the test
You
is
find
just...
that humiliating?
I think
or-
that's very
Very.
rude. It's very disrespectful.
I
If
had
it's a
no
urine
problem
test,
with it.
it's very
I had no
humiliating.
problem with it
that's
whatsoever.
It's a different.
If that's
It's
the
in a
case,
different
would
context.
you take my urinalysis? Because I don't know that
I
I'm going
would
to
not
pass.
take. Well, no. I don't even want to think about your urine, okay, or urinalysis.
Yeah.
Sorry. No. No.
We're talking urine, man.
No,
She won't even do it.
Yeah.
First of all, is this a big problem? Are there really a lot of teachers who are spinning into hallucinations and molesting cheerleaders behind the bleachers
why
at
are we putting so
assembly?
much emphasis on it then? If it's not a big problem, we should have no problem doing it.
That is a Soviet way of thinking.
Well, that's how I feel. In America,
She's wearing red. Are you calling?
You found me out. You found me out.
That's a very
You're
sort of
absolutely
frightening
right.
George Orwell defense to say if you're not doing anything wrong, it shouldn't matter. So we're actually going to come into your house and look around, and we're going to read what you're reading.
You're entitled to your own opinions, and that's how I feel.
I know, but I'm just saying, where do you draw the line within that mindset? If it's okay to invade that level of privacy, how do you insulate it from progressing into Big Brother?
When you have a public job, you have a responsibility. Like I said, I'm a lobbyist. I represent truckers. If they have to be drug-free and alcohol-free...
No, we went over that.
But you're assuming...
Truckers, yes!
I am trying to drive my point home.
Drug test the truckers, okay? They're driving, they've got big rigs, lots of things.
Airline pilots.
Drug test the druggers. I mean the truckers.
Well, drug test you, I think, is what we have to do.
I didn't take my drugs today.
You know, it came out about a year ago that he was leading a double life, and now there's this article in TV Guide all about it. And, you know, his whole image was, it says, anyone familiar with Kuralt's work, the gentle, whimsical, and folksy touch. And he did lots of stories about guys who were whittling and old ladies who were having birthdays for their cats. Has no trouble picturing the jolly, balding everyman lost in the pleasures of wading the big hole.
Wait a minute.
Waiting what?
Well, that's the river by which he lived.
Okay.
But it means something else to me because, you know, he was leading a double life. 3 if you count his chins. No. He had this mistress for 30 years, and I feel betrayed by Charles Kuralt, and I'm wondering if...
Well, you think better of him now. Don't you're not kidding anybody. You think better of him now. You like him even more. Who are you kidding?
No, he chose that side of the fence for this conversation.
Well, actually, what is the point of having a mistress for 30 years?
It's not a mistress? Well,
30 years.
Say, yeah, but you could be in love with somebody, not necessarily me, but you could be in love with somebody and definitely be in love with somebody else. Most people try to stay with one person, especially if they're married, but he just kind of, you know, when he went to Montana or wherever he wanted to, he fell in love with some girl, and that's fine.
But Joey, I don't think that that's going to be his legacy.
I mean, that's fine for him.
But I don't think that's going to be his legacy. I think he was so talented that... Not for me.
But she wants money. The other wife,
yes, that's
the other girl wants money, and that's a no-no. She blew it. She's not the wife. She's the mistress. Don't try to get paid after he's gone.
What were we talking about?
I can't even deal with it.
Again?
It's true, though. It's the same topic, but maybe I was segueing too much.
No.
Sorry.
Wow.
I mean, you're right.
His mistress wants to get paid now.
Yeah, his mistress wants
she
money.
wants the ranch, right?
She wants the range. She wants the land at the big hole.
And is that so important? Is that so important?
Well, I think that, you know, if we go back through history with the kind of public knowledge that we have now and the access to public knowledge for all these people in politics, and, I mean, it's unbelievable. We could dig up stuff on every single person as you go down the line, probably the best stuff on the most conservative.
Well, the thing that I find interesting is that there was part of the article was talking about how, you know, he has this very storied history as a journalist. He's very well respected. Does this change the light in which we see his body of work?
It shouldn't, because that's his personal life. That's his personal life. He was a talented correspondent.
But I don't want to picture this guy getting his bald, folksy freak on.
You know, and how do you think I feel whenever I listen to Marv Albert call a basketball game?
But it's like if you build an image on one thing, aren't you a little more culpable?
Are you saying that you're being a hypocrite? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying, well, it's like when Bill Cosby was found out to be cheating. Remember that came out?
We're all human. We all make mistakes.
I know. We all do make mistakes, but we all don't make our image based on a family man.
Yes, but that's changing now. And for a long time, it hasn't been like that. I mean, now because of everything being so exposed, people are having to be a little more honest. people are opening up a little bit more with that kind of stuff because they know they're going to get found out anyway.
But don't you have an obligation to your image? I mean, Bill Clinton never claimed he was a choir boy, and that's why I defended him during the impeachment thing. But, you know, Bill Cosby, I mean, if I get caught, I'm Mr. Politically Incorrect. I'm okay.
I'm a conservative, Bill.
I mean,
But
Joey's a new
image is
kid
an
on the block.
image.
I think what you were saying about Bill Cosby is sort of true to the in one respect, that he was really basing himself as walking the walk and talking the talk. Charles Kuralt was a journalist. What he does off camera, it's not like he said, I'm going to go home and have dinner with the guy who whittles wood figurines. Like, you know what I mean? He was like, I'm going to go to Montana and get my freak on. You know what I mean? So,
but things take off, you know, on their own, images and stuff like that. It's not always how it seems, you know what I mean?
The thing that I find more disturbing than his actually straying from his marriage, which I think is kind of a pedestrian mistake, a lot of people make that, is the fact that he was able to compartmentalize his life in an absolutely airtight way.
Who are we to judge in that
Nobody
respect?
knew
Who are we
about
to
it.
judge?
I'm just saying it's creepy.
I mean,
if all of a sudden
even having this discussion, who
you know,
are we to
you
judge?
found out
It's
something
very
about, if my
creepy.
friends found out that they had known me for, you know, years and years and years, and, you know, I had a secret life where I was, you know, selling, you know, government secrets. I'm not saying I am. But
I understand your point. We have to take a break.
In the Los Angeles area and would like free tickets to Politically Incorrect, call 323-575-4321.
All right, don't scream. Here's Joey CD. Go buy it. Monday, we will have Dave Matthews, Elaine Boozler, Bishop.